Hello everyone at Mona Heights Chapel. My name is Nuke Shim. Some of you might remember me as Nuke Shim. Nuke is just for short. 61 years ago, a couple of weeks before Easter, this 19-year-old bank clerk walked a few blocks and came to Mona Heights Chapel. This was my first actual church service that I ever attended. And I came there because I was going out with a young woman, a very beautiful young lady, and she had told me she was a Christian, and I was getting some competition. So I thought if I went to church, I would gain a few points. So I participated in the breaking of the bread service that Sunday morning. And afterwards, I talked with someone there. They asked me if I was a Christian. And I thought, well, Jamaica is a Christian country. And in my mind, I thought, well, I could be called a Christian atheist. Anyway, they invited me back to the evening meeting. And the following Sunday, during the week before, I bought a little Bible and turned up. And Mr. Harold Wildish was speaking. And I remember his words hit me between the eyes, as it were, and I tried to hide behind a lady with a big hat. Anyway, after the service, I was offered, anyone wanted a free Gospel of John could come and speak to someone at the front. And Dr. Roy Mushat sat me down and shared several verses from the book of Romans with me and asked me if I wanted to pray to receive Christ. And, out of respect more than anything else, I said yes. So I prayed a prayer, but when I woke up the following morning, I was very, very confused. I didn't know what my prayer meant because I had repeated a prayer from Dr. Mushat. And I didn't really know about Jesus Christ, exactly who he was. But that week I received a phone call from a friend I knew from elementary school by the name of Ronnie Lee, and Ronnie said, "Nuke, I heard you became a Christian." Somehow the word had gotten to the Chinese Christian group, and so Ronnie invited me to a retreat, the Easter retreat. And it was that weekend that I came face to face with exactly who Jesus was, the Creator God who became a human being. And during that weekend, the sermons really penetrated my heart, and I fell in love with Jesus. And as far as I could understand, I gave myself fully to God. Interestingly, it was that weekend that I first met my wife-to-be. That June, a couple of months after my commitment, I met a young man by the name of Reho, and he had been trained by the Navigators, graduated from Iowa State University. And Ray began to help me grow in my Christian life. I learned how to have a quiet time, learned how to study the Bible, memorize scripture, and most importantly, to put into practice what I was learning. Another thing, I learned how to share my faith. Ray would borrow his brother's Volkswagen, we'd drive out to the beach, and we'd pick up a hitchhiker, and he'd say, "Nuke, why don't you share with Joe what happened in your life to turn your life around recently?" And I did my best to share my testimony. We'd get to the beach and we'd take out our Bibles, and Ray would show me from Acts 26 how Paul shared his testimony, and we'd talk about it. The next time we'd pick up another hitchhiker and we'd go through the same process, and I began to learn how to share my faith. One of the things we did, for example, Ray and I, we would walk around the University of the West Indies campus and pray for the campus and for the students and ask God to lead us to people with whom we could share the gospel with. We did that at CAST, College of Arts science and technology. And I began to grow and to learn to share my faith. Long story short, God really spoke to me about the Great Commission, about being a disciple and making disciples. And in the mid-60s, I took a year. I left my job at Colgate-Palmolive and went to the United States to get training from the navigators. In 1966, Vi and I got married right there at Mona Heights Chapel. And the following year, we started our family with the birth of Carolyn. 1970 took me to Trinidad, where I became marketing manager for that, for Trinidad, and then later on for the Eastern Caribbean and parts of South America. And in 1972, we left that job as the navigators invited us to come to Canada to work, do the ministry with university students. At Mona Heights, I consulted with the elders, and after praying about it, they commissioned me to full-time ministry with the navigators. We came to Canada in 1973 with 4 children, and God has took us to many, many places. Most recently, we have focused on mainland Chinese scholars and new immigrants, and so that's gone on for the last probably 28 years. We were able to see God help us plant a church, the Lincoln Road Mandarin Chinese congregation. And I retired a year and a half ago, but we're still seeking to shepherd those who had brought to faith through our ministry. So I just wanted to share this story with you, and looking forward in the near future to visit Jamaica and be with you physically. God bless. Bye-bye.